Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video. In today's video, diving into PKA vs Pudding for the new season of the Pirate Kings Ventures. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a bit of a run through of the teams that I'm using to farm out this event. Use the two teams for the final boss that don't use any of the batch characters. The first team, I'll be using that team that I put up in the little short. I obviously stuffed that up and didn't exactly get the full run out for you guys. So I'll showcase that, and I also want to showcase sort of like how I play in the lead up to the final boss. So this is the team that uses the Van Ogre as a friend captain. I believe this team right here uses a Gear 5 6-star as a friend captain, so you can do that if you guys don't have any of those other characters or you can't find Van Ogre friend captains. This team will help you guys out. But as for the mini bosses, I do like to throw Nami Korean as my captain and then just as many point boosters as possible. So here, all four of my subs are a 1-point booster. Nami Karina, technically, as a captain, classifies as an extra drop because you're getting an extra turtle, which is a really cheeky way of farming out your mini-bosses in PKA. And then you can just pick up a Katarina Devon, or Van Ogre is a little bit more valuable for the final boss. So I always look for Katarina Devon friend captains for the mini-bosses. Keep them at level 1 and level 6 respectively, as I always tell you guys to do. Hit the auto button and just let it rock. Now, you can do some fun stuff with, like, damage dealing specials and speed through it if you guys are missing boosters. Say, for example, you don't have Pizarro, you could just throw on, like, Treasure Map Zoro and just Bink Special, Bink Special. That way you're just wave clearing the first two stages. It makes things a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. Hell, you could probably do that for the boss stages as well, but the boss stages die pretty damn quickly, so you shouldn't have too many issues there. Remember, Super Evolve your Halloween Shanks. He is free to play now. Technically, he is available over in Assault Rumble right now. All you got to do is clear level 3. It's very easy to do that. Clear level 3, get your copy of Shanks. Clear level 6, which is, again, very easy to do. And then you can Super Evolve him, you get a 1.2 times booster for Assault Rumble, and you get an extra drop character over here. But look, as long as you clear level 3, Halloween Shanks, the regular form, is still going to be an extra drop. The free-to-play Luffy, extra drop. Pizarro, I understand not a lot of people have Pizarro or anyone at all, because people should know someone in that Kazuna banner. And then Blackbeard, he's technically free-to-play as well. If you guys were playing last month, you would have picked up his 6+ for that extra booster there. So, like, worst case scenario, you should have at least 4 guaranteed drops on this particular team, and then bringing a friend captain gives you that extra 3. Again, if you can't find a friend captain, something like a Nami Karina friend captain, Halloween Shanks friend captain, any of those options should work fairly nicely for you guys, just to sort of maximize your total gains and get as much out of the game mode as physically possible. So that's always a good time. But that's the first mini boss. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple, pretty easy. Once you hit level 100 plus, or if you stay on a 0 digit, so 20, 40, 60, 80, or 100, which you can do if you really want to stockpile your tavern medals, you can stay at like level 20, farm out your mini bosses for 2 every single time, and then you just use a super high point boosting team for the final stages of PKA. But as you can see here, I just like to tear my way through, so that way we can put out some content for you guys. 64 cola? Oof, we'll take that. So moving on to the second mini boss fight now, we have the Giants. Again, we're literally just rocking the same team. The supports, look, you don't need the supports to be honest. It makes the runs a little bit quicker. But basically what you want to do is just have a look at the fights, see what particular utility you need, and then you can just throw those supports on there. Big one that I always find to get rid of is stuff like damage reduction, threshold, and paralysis. They're the most annoying. So if you guys don't really care too much about looking into what the content does, just search up, say, like Vivi, throw Vivi on Luffy. That way you're guaranteed to remove any threshold on the final stage. You could throw Vivi on Nami Karina as well. Any paralysis removing sports like Rayleigh, is it Van Ogre, the treasure map rare recruit on Blackbeard. And then you have like Lime Juice on Shanks, so like you can do some fun stuff there. I always run the Whale Shark ship because you get 1 turn of paralysis removal with that, and you get extra EXP. I find that it's just like the best ship to level up, and I find it way more useful than stuff like the Ho ship. But if you're a new player, I understand like maxing out the Ho ship is going to give you a little bit more EXP, plus you get that ship special, which is very valuable as well. So that's always super hunky-dory. But yes, as I mentioned, as always, just like don't worry about attack down, don't worry about defense up, all that fun stuff. The level 6 and level 1, like the HP is so low that like you can just bypass it. But again, if you have the VV support, throw VV on, and you can get around that. Despair is another annoying one, but these lower stages, you get slapped with like 1 to 2 turns of despair, and your socket should take care of that. Pretty nice and pretty easy. So they're the mini bosses. Like I said, always just run Nami Karina as captain. Bring as many point boosters as you can. Throw on the highest boosted friend captain. And then when you get like this, for example, like you get 2 turtles, you're guaranteed to get like an extra 8. It's just, yeah. It's exactly what you want when you are farming these no new batch or no new unit based events for these off months leading into sort of like a bigger celebration. So I'm going to quickly pump out this PvP fight. Whenever I see the easy PvP fight, I always have a tendency to just try and do it because it's so quick to beat. And obviously you need to do, I think it's what, 10? Is it 10 PvP fights? If you do 10 PvP fights, you get just a few more scrolls for PvP, and those rainbow scrolls, they actually give so much EXP, very similar to like a rainbow Hime turtle, just gives way more EXP than what the regular colors do, and PKA is the best place to farm them. So if you guys are struggling to level up PvP characters, if you're trying to get different characters for Assault Rumble or Grand Party, PKA is actually the best place to pick up these particular flags, and we have a Grand Party that's literally around the corner, so if you guys are still trying to finalize some of your teams, then I'll make sure to clear these missions, because like clearing these types of missions is like you're not only getting the rewards from the game, but you're also getting that mission reward too. So it's like a little double whammy. But again, if you don't need scrolls, you can always pick up stuff like cola. You can get stuff like turtles. So yeah, like I said, just get them done. Just get them done. I'm gonna take the cola because I don't really need flags per se. Let's make our way through to the final boss here. I was hoping for a Nami statue. Characters you want to level up for these teams, the Nami statue, which is for int, is very valuable, and then any of the primary colors is quite good, but like int is the big one because int is the type advantage. As you can see, this is what I'm rocking at the moment. Nothing too crazy with my levels. Level 14 on Nami, I always like to sort of bink Zoro, and for some reason I've just picked up so many Sanji statues. Like Sanji's just been popping up like crazy. So let's start it off with the Van Ogre Friend Captain, which is this team right here. I didn't get a chance to record this properly, but as you can see, we are using the Merry Go ship. It is very important because it has 1 turn of despair removal. If you don't have the Merry Go maxed out, it's definitely a ship I would recommend looking at doing, especially if you are more of a newer player. Oh, it's our last Van Ogre, that's so perfect. Especially if you're a newer player, purely because it has the ability to remove 1 turn of bind and despair. So like the first ship you should level up is probably the host ship or the whale sharks. And then this ship. This is like your next ship that you kind of like must do. So, yeah, the 1 turn of bind and despair removal is so good because with this particular fight, you need 7 turns of it on the final stage, which is a lot when you are looking at supports. But this is what we're rocking. The Kizaru and Brook support are here for some paralysis. We have Halloween Shanks as our captain. Free-to-play Luffy's giving us an extra drop, and the Blackbeard's giving us an extra drop. With this, you're guaranteed at least 6 drops, and then you could possibly get up to 8. So that's a team. Those are the supports. Let's dive on in. Now, if you have any of the rare recruit characters, like Kuzan on this particular team is probably the most replaceable. I don't really know exactly what the rare recruits do, but I know there is obviously a Kuzan rare recruit. There's also a, what's his name? Wethead Caribou rare recruit. So if you have them, you could probably just substitute them in for Kuzan. Like, obviously, if you have Kuzan, you're going to definitely need to substitute Kuzan. But if they can remove resilience, that's realistically what this Kuzan is doing on this particular team. So I don't really know, like I said, if they do any resilience removal. I feel like they do. Like, one of them would have to. If the Kuzan does, like, that's just perfect, because you just Kuzan for Kuzan, keep the support for paralysis, and you're just absolutely fine. But on turn 3, you come up against Kuzan, he gives you paralysis orbs or block orbs. Now, I got very lucky here. I got a full board of block orbs. But realistically, all you need is just one, like, block orb. You just need one block orb on a in-character, preferably, and then that way you get a full board of, or you get an orb on that character. Use the Kuzan special, it activates the Van Ogre captain ability, switch with Blackbeard. So this way you have a conditional buff, you have an orb buff, you have a chain lock, and literally you can just like tap with one character like this, and then you're just good to go. Ideally, you want to kind of have 2 characters with orbs, because you don't want to tap any paralysis orbs. That is very important. Don't give your characters paralysis, because you just don't have enough turns to remove it with this team. But like I said, if you get a full board of paralysis orbs, like that's just unlucky, chief. Like that's just paddling. So we're gonna use the Sanji special on the second turn of Kuzan, and then we can use the Kuzan special to go bypass the resilience. Unfortunately, we don't really have a way to bypass resilience with this particular team, because we need the 3 Blackbeard pirates. So that Kuzan was the best way to do it, because you could give yourself 3 turns of a chain lock, bypass the chain lock moving into this stage. Not that it matters, because Van Ogre can remove that anyway. But he also has damage dealing, so you can just kill with that pseudo double special activation. Sanji can remove the stun thanks to his his second turn shenanigans, and then with his second turn he can actually remove the paralysis because you've got the attack and orb boost. We're then going to use the Van Augur special here. That would remove the chain lock, give yourself a 3-turn chain boundary, but it also makes Blackbeard our captain. So Blackbeard goes into our captain slot, and then we can you don't really need the super swap, to be honest. Like, it doesn't really do all that much. It gives you some matching orbs, which can be a little bit handy. On the final stage, you actually can't rotate orbs, but the idea here is we have a massive attack and orb buff on Sanji, a chain boost, chain boundary, and the tap timing buff. So realistically, what we can do here is tap with Luffy, tap into Sanji because he has a sailor ability that if you hit a perfect, he keeps his in orb, and then tap with Kuzan. You're not going to need to tap with Kuzan, but like Kuzan and Luffy don't need orbs, so if they lose their orbs, it's like whatever. You just want your in-characters to have orbs. Hell, you can even tap with Van Augur as well because he gives himself a tandem orb on this final stage. Final stage has a barrier, intimidation for orb boost, which doesn't matter because we carried an orb boost over. There's a barrier, despair, and if you're below, if you're above 50% HP, or 60% HP, she puts up like resilience and defense up, all this nasty shit. So you just don't want that to happen. We're going to use the superclass of Van Augur. That's going to captain swap back into Shanks. Shanks is just a better captain than Blackbeard for the entire team. We can use the Shanks special, which activates the Yasop support to help us remove the despair and remove the damage nullification. We have the time skip Nami support on Luffy to remove some more despair. You can also use the Sabo support too. Finally, we're going to use the Kuzan special because then it triggers the passive of Van Augur's captain, and as you can see, we get this little multiplicative buff there as well. We have the super tandem here too, so start tap with Luffy into that, into Blackbeard, and from Blackbeard, like we're doing so much damage. Remember, all of your attacking and orb boosting is built into Sanji, and because Shanks gives the color affinity boost to Sanji as well, he's going to hit ridiculously hard at the back end of a chain. So that's the team. Clears very, very nicely and gives you a lot of drops, 6 to 8 drops, pushing level 150, which obviously we're not at yet, but as you can see, the damage is very, very high, and it'll definitely crack 150. Getting to 200, obviously, like, that's a different story, but at least it's going to get you, like, well into the 150s, 160s, and look, I'll make a community post when the team stops working, so that way you guys don't have to keep spamming your materials. But there's one more team. The Free Spirit team always gets it done. You don't have to bring a Van Augur friend captain, so let's check out that particular run. Now, as always, we like to get it done with the Free Spirit team. This particular team, I wouldn't say it's more new player friendly, but like these characters I've been screaming at people to make sure that you get your hands on. And shout out to my boy Aidan, who does play the game very casually, summons on big celebrations, and has all these particular characters at his disposal. Now, I know that some people don't have like the best luck in the world. You might be missing Zoro-san, you might be missing Yamato, hell, you might be missing Ace versus Luffy Kaido. But these Super Sugos, this is why we scream at you guys to summon on these banners and pick up these particular units, because these characters are the pinnacle. Like these are the best characters in the game, and they can always get this type of stuff done. But as you can see, we are switching with Zoro Sanji every single turn, and as I mentioned in my initial playthrough of this particular team, you want to make sure you tap with them last, so that way they keep their tandem orb and you're still building up their swap charges. Very important that you do that, so that way this team actually stays as a no stall team, thanks to the Momo support. As I mentioned, there's a bunch of hefty supports. We're using the Merry-Go once again for some more despair removal, but if you guys are missing stuff like the Merry-Go and the Otoko support, you can actually replace Roger on your Zoro Sanji, so then that way you can actually get the Valentine's Nami support and still get around the despair without those two illustrious things. You will obviously need to stall a little bit, but at the same time, if you're just looking to clear it, then that's going to work out quite nicely. On to stage 3, we're coming against Kuzan. He has that resilience debuff. We do need 1 turn of cooldown extra for lore here. We are going to have to just bypass the paralysis orbs like we saw in the last piece of content, but as you guys saw there, we actually managed to get the block orb manipulation. We have the cooldown with Ace. We get 1 turn orb boost and a turn damage and a 2-turn chain boundary. 1-0 lore on this stage is just so perfect. Like he works so ridiculously well to help you clear this particular fight, or this particular stage of the fight. The problem is you don't want his orb boost because Ace will extend it. So you realistically want to swap with Zoro Sanji first. Very important that you do that. Now we do get stunned in our middle row here. We also get paralyzed, which is very, very annoying. But what we want to do first, before we do anything, is utilize the Ace special. Ace is going to give us a 3-turn orb boost, as well as remove the paralysis. The reason we want to use Ace first and get the 3-turn orb boost is because there is an intimidation on the final stage, which is very, very annoying. We can then use the EX of Luffy, which I probably should have used on turn 1, if I'm being completely honest, so that way we can, you know, get rid of some of this HP. We're then going to use the Luffy special because we can't use it on the final stage. That gives us color affinity here. We're then going to use the EX of Yamato to get a damage reduction buff, as well as then use her special to increase that by 2 turns and remove the attack down below a certain chain. That'll trigger the Momo support, which will give you a 50% HP cut, and then also give you Wano orbs on your adjacent characters. Now, the Wano orbs on adjacent characters here is actually so clutch to make this no stall, because now we can actually tap with Luffy into Zoro Sanji, and that way we get the super swap ready, and we get the extra verse charge for Luffy. So as you guys see, Luffy pretty much just kills. Probably don't hit a perfect there too, because you do want to be at a little bit lower HP. Of course, Law gets swapped into Captain. Are you kidding? Now, what you can do here is you can actually cheese this a little bit, and you can actually close the app and reopen it if you don't like your Captain swap. The middle right character will always become Captain. So that way, you're always going to get verse Luffy as Captain. Fortunately for us, we got Law, who is the worst case scenario. Now, the reason Law is the worst case scenario is because the enemy has defense up when you're above 60% HP, and you also get resilience. The reason this is a problem is because we don't have a way to remove all of that defense up. So what we're going to do here is we're going to super swap with Zoro and Sanji. We're going to use the versatility of Luffy to increase that orb buff just a little bit more than what they would provide. It goes to 2.7 instead of 2.5 or 2.25, whatever it is. We're then going to use the the Zoro Sanji special to get a chain boost and increase the orb buff. We have the EX for some tap timing shenanigans, and then Luffy's special gives us chain boundary as well as a conditional buff and a territory. Now, again, the reason that the defense up is a problem is because we now have to tap through it, so the damage is going to be a lot less. But again, if you just close the app and reopen it, you're always going to get Luffy become Captain, and then you should be fine. But with here, we have a rush, we have a super tandem, and we have a final tap. So let's rush with our Ace. Going to tap into the Luffy and then into Law. As you can see, we have so much damage that defense up means absolutely nothing. And obviously, this team is going to be able to clear 200. Like, there's going to be a lot of damage here. You're going to tap into Law, tap into Zoro Sanji for your super tandem, hitting with Yamato for a massive shot, and then the final tap of Luffy, because he takes all the free spirit damage and adds it to end of turn tap timing, it actually bypasses the resilience, and you can just easily kill there. So that's always nice. Damage null, barriers, we don't have to worry about that thanks to the Gear 5 friend captain, and wham bam, thank you ma'am. That is the free spirit team. So hopefully this video helps you guys out in some regard with your PKA grind. I might post like some community posts of these teams clearing level 200 or whatever, but these are the teams I'm just going to be using moving forward. I don't really have to update them or get any more games, but like I said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, but like button, hit the subscribe and do all that good stuff. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Yeet!